I'm WRTV Chief Meteorologist Todd Clausen. We've already seen some snow this winter, and as we go into the rest of this winter, I do think it's going to be a pretty active winter for us. Now, when coming up with a winter weather forecast, there's a lot of different things to take into account. The one you heard the most is probably La Nina or El Nino. This year is going to be a weak La Nina to start, and then it almost goes neutral. I'll explain more of that in just a second. You take into account some different oscillations that are out there, the Arctic Oscillation, North Atlantic Oscillation, and then you look back at history to see what kind of weather you had during different La Nina or El Nino years. As I look ahead to this forecast, I think overall your temperatures are going to run a little bit below normal. Precipitation is going to be above normal, and then snow is probably going to check in just a little bit below normal. The two words that I kept coming up with this winter are active and variable, because I think as we get towards the tail end of winter, we're going to start to see more fluctuations in temperature. Now, in a typical La Nina pattern, this is what the setup looks like. You have the polar jet, which separates the cold Arctic air and the warmer air to the south. And then you also have the Pacific jet, and that's going to be the main moisture source. You typically see wetter weather in the Pacific Northwest, as well as here in much of central Indiana into the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes. And what I'm expecting this winter, at least early on, is a lot of quick moving storms to come along the jet stream. We call them clippers a lot of times because they don't have a ton of moisture. They get it from the Pacific, and then they have to cross the entire country. We got our bigger storm systems when we can tap into the Gulf of Mexico, and that's one of the big questions I think as we go through this winter is, can we tap into the bigger moisture source for us to get some of our bigger snows? Overall temperatures, I think, are overall slightly below average. We'll be prone to some Arctic outbreaks, especially early in the winter, through maybe late November, December, and even into early January. And then it becomes more variable as we work our way into the second half of the winter, February, as well as into March. And because that's La Nina, at that point, it's probably starting to weaken a little bit from being semi-strong here to start the winter season. Now, as far as the storm tracks, as I mentioned, numerous quick-moving storm systems with the potential for a bunch of minor snow events. We're talking about 1, 2, 3-inch events, but we'll also be prone to mixed events with that jet stream in and around central Indiana. It's going to be fluctuating a little bit, and as I mentioned just earlier, can we tap into the Gulf for some bigger snowfall totals? Now, on an average year, this is what the state of Indiana sees for snowfall, less than 10 inches across southern Indiana. Then there's a band of about 10 to 20 inches from Bloomington to Columbus. Indiana averages about 25, or Indianapolis rather, 25.5 inches of snow, and then you get 30 plus up here, obviously with lake effect enhancement. So my winter outlook forecast here calls for snow totals to be just a little bit below that average of 25.5 inches here in Indianapolis. I think we'll eventually end up right around 20 to 25 inches. Now, the one caveat to this entire thing is the lake effect snow machine. The waters in Lake Michigan are well above average. It's going to take a while for them to cool down as we work our way through the early start of winter. So there could be some significant lake effect snows in northern locations. That's something we'll have to keep an eye on. But again, overall, to kind of recap, temperatures slightly below normal, snowfall a little bit below normal, but a very active weather pattern here with numerous storm systems making their way through central Indiana.